Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's just the two of us tonight. Well, we can make it if we try, but uh, perhaps we'll be joined by a third panelist. We are hoping that Simon, the artist formerly known as Vinyl Dale, now known as Digital Dale, will be joining us at some point. But with it being Father's Day, and happy Father's Day out there to everyone. Speaking of the devil, I've just seen him crop up on the chat on my TV. It's not come up on my actual restream screen yet. There he is. I've sent you the link, Simon. So feel free to join us as soon as you can. If you need me to put it in the chat here, then let me know. I can do that if that's easier for you. But yeah, welcome back to the old Sodcast. We are on edition number 21 today. And conspicuous by his absence is Not Suitable for Mum, Jason Clow. I'm sure he'll be back with us in 2 weeks' time, which reminds me that we've not actually discussed what we're doing in 2 weeks' time, but that's something that I can chat with Ian and Simon about after we've finished tonight. But happy Father's Day, everybody, and happy Father's Day to you as well, Ian. Hope you're well, mate. How are you?
I'm good. I've had a nice, relaxing day. I've had a total not doing much on the channel weekend. I've done a few bits of housework on the channel, and that's it. Then things you have to now and again. You have to do a tidy up and put here, there, and everywhere. And I just this morning. I spent about an hour doing that, and that's it. So I've just been chilling out because it's been nice. Went for a leisurely walk, because even if it's round the block, it's a leisurely walk because he needs to sniff every flower, every blade of grass.
Yep.
So yeah, I haven't done much.
And we are joined now. Thank you very much for being a part of this again tonight, Simon. We are joined by, he's still classed as Vinyl Dale on screen, but if you want to find him on YouTube now, it's Digital Dale. Although I think your handle, the @ is still Vinyl Dale, isn't it? So it's easy to find him. I don't know if he might be muted. Are you muted, Simon? I get the feeling he is. Right,
Yeah.
We'll just, he's just figuring out his audio problems. You get a few of them, don't you, Si?
And that's like I found out what was going on Friday when on the live stream. Apparently, someone in my neighbour was having problems on the internet as well.
Oh, it was sort of generally like a local issue then. Hi, Alice. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yes, so it was something that was locally. Yeah. I mean, luckily I'm taking it out now because I don't need it. But I've got this. That's what I've eventually. It's quite a thing. Where I used to live, my router was not in the right place, so I had to have this. But I always keep this as a backup.
Yeah,
it doesn't come out very often.
I haven't really got a backup apart from I suppose I can tether off my phone, but it's very rare I've had to do that. Simon, is your audio sorted? No, it's not. Okay. Right, we'll carry on then and wait for Simon to sort himself out. So much happening on. There's always plenty happening on Ranking the Obscure this week, but anything in particular that you want to plug?
Not really. What can I say? Well, I've got doing bits and bobs. Obviously, we've got a Richard video next Saturday, which is always fun.
Yes. Did you say it's election day?
Yeah, we're gonna do something a bit light-hearted for the election. We're gonna pick our top 10 songs that were in the top 10 on election days of years gone by.
I mean that'll be general elections, won't you know the
general elections? Yeah, not local elections, just the general elections.
So anything that was in the top 10
on polling day, yeah,
of an election, yeah, polling day, which is
one of the polling days I remember was 3rd of May 1979.
Yeah, 79 was certainly an election year.
Yes.
Good. Looking forward to that. You've got the Thursday live stream as per usual as well.
Oh, we certainly have. We have got. We're doing our can't get enough albums or things like 10 albums that you always play and you've always played and you never get tired of.
Indeed, yes, that's right. Yeah, I should have a few of those. 10.
Can you hear me now?
Hey!
Hey! There we go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'm not saying your microphone's old, Simon, but wasn't the last person to use it Vera Lynn?
It is old, I know. I don't know if that's the issue. I seem to have to keep flicking through settings to get it working.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, I had a problem with that with mine when I had an update on my computer.
I have to keep selecting different drivers for it to work. It's really peculiar because the webcam's got a mic, so I don't know if that is the one what's hearing me or actual my camera, my microphone. Which is set.
You may have to go into your thing and set your.
You sound good anyway. You sound fine tonight.
That's all right. As long as it works, it's fine.
Yeah. Hello, Craig. Thank you for joining us. So, yeah, plenty to look forward to, as there always is, on Ranking the Obscure this week. Particularly, of course, the live stream is on Thursday at 8 o'clock. That's 12 p.m. West Coast, 3 p.m. East Coast.
It's rolling off your tongue.
Yeah, and look out for the election day top 10 thing, the video with Richard McCook, big friend of the channel, big friend of all our channels, Richard. Next Saturday, that usually premieres, what is it?
Tea time.
Oh, tea time. So, yeah, something to watch during Saturday tea time. You've been keeping track of the football, Ian?
Yeah, I did watch a bit of it yesterday. I've got it up on the screen now.
The one match that I was quite keen to watch, and I've not even got it on my screen. England, didn't it? I'm sure we'll get some score updates, and if I'm competing with that tonight, aren't I?
Yeah, I noticed that I watched the Poland game, and Eastern European countries have got the same thing: put 11 men behind the ball and the team bus.
Yeah.
It's very negative, isn't it, in football when teams put especially in the Eastern European countries. All they do is put everyone behind the ball.
Mm. Yeah.
And you can't break it down, can you?
No.
Not so easy, no.
So, Simon, happy Father's Day, mate. Hope you've had a good day. How are you?
Yeah, it's been nice. I'm very well, thank you. Just been for a meal with the family. So had a nice roast dinner, and the kids all had a burger or some sort.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's my daughter was out with her dad, her granddad, my dad, some play type thing today. But me and my eldest and my mum, we had steak for lunch. That was nice. And it normally would go out next week because it's close to my birthday. But my youngest and my mum are in London to see Sister Act the musical next weekend. So we're gonna go out the weekend after.
Cool.
So I'll be I say celebrating my birthday. I never make a big fuss of it, but my birthday and Father's Day are always sort of quite close to one another anyway. So often combine the two.
I know you've got a birthday coming up because I put Your top 10 is ready to go, as they say.
Oh, yeah, it's
For
already.
America, bit different.
Yep, US top 10. I got the UK one last year with Don McLean, I believe, was at number 1 in that. Which I knew he was number 1 on my birthday for Donkey's years, but I don't know who is in America, so that's gonna be a nice surprise seeing that
It
chart.
is different sort of music as well. They're about 10 years behind everybody in America.
Craig's asking me to let people know the times of stuff in Hong Kong and Australia. Well, anyone who is watching from there, hello, and thanks for joining us. Nick's here as well. Nick's hi, Nick. Happy Father's Day. Hope you're well. Anything particular planned on the channel for you this week, Simon? I mean, I'm assuming you've got your Friday live stream.
Friday live stream and a video on a Monday. That's all I seem to do at the moment. A video on a Monday and the Friday live stream. So
it's fine. I know you're a busy guy. Work and family and all the rest of it. So
Yeah, I like to sort of schedule my videos like what you do. Coming weeks rather than packed everything in a week or whatever. Multiple videos.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. Mine, I have a lot every week. I do a lot, but yeah, if I didn't have the time to do everything, I'll kind of just I'd do what you do and space things out.
Yeah. So
Craig, you can keep updating us with the scores if you want. I mean, I know Ian's got half an eye on it. I'll distract him too.
Oh, we've just scored. Bellingham.
We've just scored 1-0 to England. I say we. I am supporting England in this tournament just by default, but generally the national team I support is the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
But, needless to say, they're crap as ever, so they're not in this tournament. But well done, England. 1-0 up, presumably. As for my channel this week, pretty packed as usual. Well, 3 videos: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tomorrow is Mini Disc Monday, edition number 9, I think. And this was something that Ian and I were talking about a couple of weeks ago. I won't say what the album is that we're looking at on Mini Disc, but Ian and I were in agreement that it's arguably one of the best debut albums that there's ever been. Do you recall that conversation a couple of weeks back, Ian?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So,
so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, be sure to watch that. It's a blinding album and a massive recommendation to listen to on any format. But I'm going to show you the mini disc tomorrow. Ian's, I don't know, was that a knock on the door or something there? I didn't hear it because I was talking.
Probably his dog, probably.
Oh yeah, it could be Rocky, could it? Then Wednesday on the channel, there's a Smule. Moving swiftly on, and Friday is a contest entry. It's the first contest entry I've done in a while for Lloyd Boone, World of Music 2. I've subbed to him, and the video. I've actually had to delay that video. I've put it back a week, which I feel a little bad about, but it's still within the time limit to enter his contest. So. I'll let him know on the day that there's a video up for his contest, and it was a really enjoyable contest. I know Ian's entered it. Did Richard? Nick's definitely entered it. I think it was Nick
and Mike. Mike's Final Spiral.
Yes, Mike did. 1 or 2 others I sub to have. I'm sure they have. It's good contest. The competitions and stuff, they've been a little bit thin on the ground. Apart from the Battle Royal, of course, which has been the epic contest of the year. We've got the champion down there at the bottom.
Has he got his T-shirt though?
We've got the organizer in the middle and the winner down at the bottom there.
Yeah. No, I'll get it this week.
Yeah.
And it's just waiting for his prize. So yeah, that's what's coming up on the channel for me this week. All right then. All right, we'll get started with ranking the top 30 biggest selling singles in the United Kingdom, of course, of the 1960s. Really been looking forward to this. I know Ian's been excited about it. Simon's been looking forward to this. They're both big fans of 60s music. I like a fair amount of 60s stuff, but I think these two are going to have more opinions than me. Yeah, so I will get all that sorted. I will take this chat overlay off. But obviously, people, I'll be able to look at the chat every now and again. So please feel free to carry on chatting and give us your rankings and stuff like that as you see fit. And just share that screen. Go back to the other one just to make sure that that's sharing okay. Yep, that looks okay. Can both of you see that okay?
Yep. I've got you on full screen. I can see them all now.
Oh, good. Okay. Right. So I will move over to this tier list screen permanently. Nick asks, where's Jason? Jason went on a mandate with Simon yesterday, and I think
He did.
I thought it'd be Simon who needed time to recover, but it's Jason. He's not getting any younger, bless him. And perhaps he walked past a curry house and had an anxiety attack or something, and he's still.
It was a nice day actually. We went out, and the video, which is out tomorrow, will be a bit of what we got up to.
Oh, there you go. So so we'll see a little bit of footage.
Yeah.
From Jason and Simon's big day out. All right, then. You know the drill with these tier lists by now. We rank them S, A, B, C, D. Of course, S is stuff that we think is the absolute best. The dog's Watsits, if you were. No offense, Rocky. And of course, all the way down to D. Anything we put in D, we think is absolutely tripe and just plain bollocks, not the dogs. Right, I have got the list up here. It's via Wikipedia, so I might be able to give you a little bit more information. Oh, everything suddenly seemed to go quiet then. I was worried. No, we're all right, aren't we? I think. Yes?
Yes, I can hear
you. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Everything seemed to go really silent then. I was thinking, oh, God, have we crashed? Zeb says, let's go. Okay, Zeb. Like I say, Zeb and everyone else watching, Nick, of course, feel free to shout your opinions out. I mean, they're not really going to sway us, but it's always interesting to see what other people want to do about some of these singles. Right then, we'll have we'll each do a pick, and we'll start with Age Before Beauty. I think today, Ian, I'm going to let you have the first pick today.
Right, let's get him out of the way. Rolf Harris.
Right, okay. Right, we're getting him out of the way, and a pretty sensible idea, really, to get him out of the way early. It is, of course, Rolf Harris with the, in hindsight, unfortunately titled Two Little Boys. This was a #1 single on the Columbia label in 1969. Right then, Ian, Rolf.
Let's take it out of context. If Rolf hadn't been the usual thing, it would have gone in D anyway, because it's just yeah. I don't like that song.
No.
It's nothing to do with Rolf Harris. It's just a horrible song.
Yeah.
How the hell he got?
Yeah, you can't even just blame Rolf. Well, you can to an extent, I suppose. But yeah,
it's the sanctimonious. Oh, give me the bucket, please. Yeah. So it's D for me.
It's D for Ian. Simon, what's your thoughts on this single by Mr. Rolf Harris?
It's a D. It's crap, isn't it? Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I don't like it. I was speaking to Ian before we went live that this was in some sort of ranking that I did. It might have been Christmas #1s or something to do with the 60s anyway, and it was my least favourite from that year. So. It's a D for me as well. So a nice, easy D. We're all singing from the same hymn sheet there.
Yeah.
All right, then. Digital Dale, it is now your pick, please.
Should we do Frank Sinatra, My Way?
Okay, that is there on the left. It's the 30th, so it just got in this chart here. The 30th biggest selling single of the 1960s. From 1969, believe it or not, its peak chart position was only 5, but it spent donkey's weeks on the chart, didn't it? But it never got higher than #5 in the UK.
Shocking.
All right then, Simon. Frank Sinatra. What do you reckon to this?
It's a great song. It's often repeated in nightclubs and things, where they're doing sort of like oldies music. It's a great song. There's no two ways about it. It should have been higher. It should have done, better. So I want to put it in S. Just kick this one off with a
wow. Okay, all right. So we've risen from the depths of Rolf Harris in D, and Simon is shooting for an S tier here with My Way. Craig says in the chat about the Rolf Harris song. It's meant to do with World War One. Yeah, it's. I know it wasn't. It was like a cover version of some old thing, but I didn't really look into it. But it was a World War One thing. Nick says it's crap. I don't know if he's referring to Rolf or Frank there, but we'll soon find out.
Both, maybe.
And Zeb saying B minus. All right. Well, Simon loves this. That's fair enough. Ian, what's your opinion on My Way?
There's been so many versions of it. Some bad karaoke as well.
It is.
But there's only one man that can sing it. And that's the governor, Frank. It is one of the classic songs. Everybody knows it. Everyone joins in with it. It's S tier for me as well. It's absolutely a brilliant song.
Well done, Ian.
Okay, we've got two S tiers here. No, I don't rate it S tier. That's the bad news.
Fair enough.
Now for the good news. I like it. I don't love it. I'm tossing up whether it should go or whether I would put it in A or B. Obviously, I've got to then sort of make a judgment as to where it will go. Like Ian says, it's kind of like a bad karaoke staple, which coming from me with my Smule series is probably the height of hypocrisy commenting on anyone's karaoke. But oh well. I think Nick was referring to Frank, so Nick's not a fan of My Way. For me, it'd be kind of like a high B, really. Like, yeah, it's good. I like it. But I've never been a big Frank Sinatra fan, really, and this one I know it's like his theme. I think I probably prefer Theme from New York, New York than this, to be honest, and that isn't in the top 30, by the way. Sid Vicious did it best, did he? Yeah. If it's the Sid version, I might be inclined to rank it a bit higher. I'm gonna say for me it's a B, but with two S's, I've really got to go with the majority, haven't I? So yeah, congratulations, chaps. It is in S tier.
Hooray!
There we go. Right then. Right, there was one I wanted to start with because it was one that I listened to earlier, and I don't recall ever hearing it before. And it's this one that is actually the 29th biggest selling single of the decade. It's Lovesick Blues by Frank Ifield, and it got to number one in 1962.
That was a huge hit.
Huge, yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. I wasn't familiar. I was familiar with Frank Ifield sort of up to a point, but he's basically like a yodeler, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
And you know what? I quite enjoyed this. I think there's more Frank Ifield to come, so I don't want to sort of speak too much on his other big single. But
he did have a few of them.
Yeah, but in this top 30, I believe this is the first of two from Mr. Ifield.
It is.
But I liked this. Did I love it enough to really put it in at least A tier? Probably not. But for me, Frank Ifield is a B tier. Simon, what about Lovesick Blues for you?
Oh, it's a classic. It's an absolute classic. And I don't ever get bored of listening to it. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It is S. I don't care what everyone thinks.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Another S for Simon. Yeah, I think. This is like Simon. So some of Simon's sort of dream lineup of singles here. Some of the ones he's ranking at S, but fair play. So I say B. Simon says S. Once again, it's going to be down to the third person, I think, really here to kind of sway it one way or the other. So Ian, Lovesick Blues.
Well, there was a big Frank Arfield in our family, so that I grew up on these songs. It's a magnificent song, but there's one I prefer far better.
Williams.
This is not quite S for me, but it's A.
Okay. So
sorry, Simon.
It's all right. It's good enough.
Simon says S, Ian says A, and I say B. Well, in that case, it's we've got to meet in the middle, really, haven't we? And it's got to go in A tier. So there we go. Well done to Frank Ifield. He will be back at some point in this tier ranking. So over to Simon for your next pick, please. Sorry, it's not Simon. It's Ian next. Sorry about that, right. Simon. You will get the equal amount, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Ian, over to you. Sorry.
Right, I'm going for the Archies. Sugar, Sugar.
Archie's Sugar Sugar, that is there. That's the 15th biggest selling single of the 60s, and it got to number 1 in 1969. All right, then tell us about the Archies then, Ian.
Well, considering this wasn't a real band, it was there was cartoons. I mean, if you've seen the video, it was a cartoon, but it is a classic 60s song. It summed up that period of time in the 60s. We were just leaving the 60s when this was come out. It was the end of the decade. It's a classic song, and there's not any, when you just talk about that song, people know the words again, they can sing it. It's a catchy tune. It's an S tier for me. It's just one of the greatest singles of the 60s in my books.
Wow, okay. Archie's Sugar Sugar is S tier according to Ranking the Obscure. But what about Digital Dale? What do you think to the Archies?
It's 60s all over. I agree with what Ian says, but I don't rank it that high. It doesn't. It sounds good for its age, but to keep hearing it after so many times, it becomes a bit monotonous. So I never really ranked it that high. So I will put this one in C personally.
C, okay. Now the Archies, they were. I suppose it was turned into a cartoon. It was probably more popular in America because originally it was, and it's a series that's still going to the best of my knowledge. But it was comic book characters, weren't they? The Archies. Yeah. Well, Archie Andrews was it, and Riverdale and all that sort of thing. So it's like a big kind of franchise, but I don't think it's one that's ever like really hit over here, apart from this single, really. It's funny. I've heard other versions of this, and I've kind of preferred the other cover versions of it. Weirdly, I'm kind of leaning more towards sort of agreeing with Simon here. I'm trying to decide, for me personally, whether C's too low or B's too high. Really, I'll say B, I think, and then I think we're going to have to meet in the middle with it, because obviously Ian really loves this S tier, but Simon has only ranked it in C tier. So, yeah, I think I'm going to sort of have final judgment on it, and I'm going to put it in B. Obviously, as I say this every time, but at the very end, we'll have a look back at what we've done, and if we want to shift anything around, put things up or down or left or right, we will do. Right then, that was Ian's pick. So, Simon, now it's yours, please.
What's the Everly Brothers one?
The Everly Brothers one will be Kathy's Clown, and that was a number 1 single in 1960 itself. Let me find it on the...
It's number 24.
24, yeah.
There we are, yeah. Kathy's Clown by the Everly Brothers. All right, Simon, I'm sure you're more than familiar with this one.
It's a good song. It's not my favourite of theirs, so I think I'll put this one in B.
It's B for the Everlys, and Kathy's Clown, says Simon. All right then, Ian, what's your opinion?
I'm with Simon on this. It's a great song, but it's not my favourite.
No.
It always tends the fans' favourite. You know, the Joe Public favourites are not the true fans' favourites. I think this is one of them. It's a catchy tune, but it doesn't flow as well as the others. There's a bit in the middle of that sort of brings it down, and you've got that great start, and then so it's definitely B.
B, okay. You know what? I'm in agreement. Really, I like it. I think it's a nice sort of kind of. I suppose it'd be erring on the side of ballad, really, wouldn't it? Kathy's Clown, but it's a good one. I've got no strong opinion on it, but I think it's certainly good enough for me to agree that it should go in B. So yeah, I think we should say 3 Bs really. I'm assuming Ian won't want it ahead of Sugar Sugar.
I would.
Yes, you would. I think I would as well. We'll leave it.
Leave it there.
Yeah, leave it there for now. Like I say, we might chop and change near the end. Right then, my pick. Right, they're covered a lot in this, so we need to start getting them out of the way. But shall we do a Beatles single?
Yeah.
Let me just do the first one that's on the row here at number 21. It is "Hello Goodbye" by the Beatles, and number 1 on the Parlophone label in 1967. S tier. This is one of the Beatles' best singles. This, yeah.
What was the B-side? Do you know?
I Am the Walrus, I think, was the B-side, weirdly enough, even though it had already come out on the Magical Mystery Tour. At least it was in certain markets. Whether it was a different B-side elsewhere in the world, I'm not sure. But I Am the Walrus was the B-side. So yeah, if either of you are familiar with B-sides of any of these singles and you want to judge the single on the B-side as well, then feel free. But obviously I am familiar with I'm the Walrus and I really like that. But I love Hello Goodbye. It's up there as one of the Beatles' greatest singles for me. It's S tier all day long for me. This one, Simon, what do you reckon to Hello Goodbye?
Yes, I'm in agreement with you, Jimmy. It's hard to deny the Beatles' brilliance. It's S tier.
We've got 2 S's so far. Right then, now it's time for Ian to put a dampener on it. Ian, come on, tell us why this won't be S tier. No, I'm assuming.
It's a very good single, full stop. 2 great songs.
Yeah.
From one of the better from the Magical Mystery Tour. And I love the bit them coming down the stairs. It's brilliant, and it's F tier as well. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, we've got 3 S's. Yay! There we go. Right, Beatles. It might only be the 21st biggest selling single of the 1960s, but it's an easy S tier for us. I'm going to say that has to go ahead of Frank for me there. So there we go. Beatles, and of course we'll be back to them multiple times throughout the course of this evening. Right then, that means it's Ian's pick next, please.
And I'm going for the Tornadoes and Telstar.
Tornadoes and Telstar. That is number 17 on the list. It came out in 1962, and like a lot of this list, it did peak at number 1. All right, then, Ian, tell us about Telstar.
Okay, it's very dated now, but it's one of the most important singles. One of the original great producers in Joe Meek.
Yeah, he was such a pioneer, weren't he?
Obviously, it's got the guitarist George Bellamy. His son is Matt Bellamy. It was one of the first singles. It's the first instrumental single that was at number 1 in the UK and the Billboard in America. It's the first single that really had sort of effects on it as well. And considering it was recorded above a shop, it's just a brilliant song. Now, it's not S tier.
Oh,
but it's low end AB because you listen to it now and it hasn't gone through the test of time.
No.
This one, I'll tell you that. I mean, there's another one of this period that has. This one hasn't. Although it's a brilliant song, I think I can put this at the top end of B.
top end of B, okay. Nick's Vinyl Butty has the Telstar 7-inch single, so I'm assuming Nick would rank this similarly high or higher. Simon, what about Telstar?
It's very well put together for the time, but all these years later, it doesn't hold off very well. It's not bad, but it's not S tier. It's not, it's. I suppose probably maybe about C would probably be about right for me.
As low as C, right? Okay. Right, so we got a B and a C. You know what? I mean, when I was obviously looking at the list and doing my homework and everything, I came across Telstar, and although I was familiar with it, I did have another little listen to it, and just to see, if I liked it as much as I thought I did. Spoiler, I did. And I thought, oh, this is going to be one that's an S contender. I think Ian and Simon are going to love this. But no, surprisingly. Yeah, I get your point that it's got like a kind of sound that's not dated very well. Even Nick is saying it's okay to put it in B. For me, this, all right, yeah, maybe S tier. I don't think I could have stretched that high really, but for me, it's such a good tune, and Joe Meek and his production techniques were just at the time were just so revolutionary, weren't they? So for me, I would have liked, I'd like this to be an A tier myself, but Ian says B, Simon says D. I mean, we've got to meet in the middle really with Telstar, haven't we, and put it in B tier. For me personally, it'd be top end of B. I don't know. I don't know if people want it ahead of Kathy's Clown or not. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it there for now. So there we go. Telstar. Surprising to me, I thought you two were going to absolutely love the bones of that single and want it in S, but fair enough. The decision has been made and it's in B tier. Right then, it's now Simon's pick.
Let's have a look. Is that Cliff Richard at 14?
It is Cliff Richard at 14. I believe it's one of two that is his that are done by him in this chart. It's the Young Ones there at number 14. It was a number one on the Columbia label in 1962. All right then, Simon, the Young Ones.
It's not my favourite. It's okay. Yeah, it's just C. It's just okay for me.
C for Cliff. And the Young Ones, according to Digital Dale. Nearly dead named you there, Simon. All right then, Ian. I'm sure you've got some strong opinions about Cliff Richard, so let us have them, please.
This is not one of my favourite Cliff songs either. It's a little bit, a bit wishy-washy. I prefer the Young Ones version of it.
Yeah,
They are
a certain age does, don't they?
Yeah, I mean they sang that, didn't they? The whole cast sang that.
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
I agree with Simon. It's not the best song from Cliff.
No.
A bit insipid.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a C for me.
It's a C for Ian. Yeah, I think we can have this as a unanimous C. Really, I don't think it's so bad it needs to go in D, but
no.
It's a pleasant tune. I just think it's just kind of wet and wishy-washy, and I don't think it deserves higher than C. Really, so yeah, 3 C's for Cliff, but he will be coming up again. All right then. You know what? As I enjoyed Hello Goodbye and ranking that so much, I'm going to continue on the Beatles train here, and I'll do what's at number 20. It's Hey Jude, which of course was on the Apple label. Well, was that the Beatles' first single on Apple, or was that Lady Madonna? I don't know, but it was a number one, of course. Hey Jude. Yeah, I don't like it as much as Hello Goodbye, but it is a great single. I couldn't, in all consciousness, in all good conscience, even rank this below S tier. Even though there's Beatles singles. Certainly, we've seen one already that I would put ahead of it in my own personal chart. It is a great single and a long single for its time. I suppose the one criticism you could make of it is that it did go on a little bit, but I do like that iconic kind of like a promo video that they did where they were in the with David Frost at the start and everything, and then all the audience come rushing up to the band near the end. So yeah, I would say Hey Jude is S tier for me. Simon, Hey Jude.
Don't like it as much as Hello Goodbye, like yourself. It does get a little bit. It's a bit long, isn't it? It's the song.
Yeah,
it does go on a bit. It's a bit slow. It's probably one of the tracks I probably might skip past if I'm flicking through the Beatles. So I'm not gonna put it in S. I'll put it in A.
In A, okay.
Bit respectable though.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, don't forget, A tier is stuff that we like a lot, but we're just not quite fully head over heels in love with. So, yeah, A tier, I've got no complaints about that, certainly. But let's see what Ian makes of Hey Jude.
I like the song, but do I need to hear 3 minutes of la 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 la? No.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't want to hear the actual song is about 3 minutes long. It's about 3 minutes of la 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 la. It's great for a concert, brilliant, but I don't want to hear it on the thing. And I can listen to until I listen to it up to the bit where the la la la's and I flick it on.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear la all the time. But it is a great song. But I think it's A. If it was a shorter song, it'd have been an S for me. But what were they thinking of doing? It just shows a lack of how's I put it? Lack of ideas.
Well, it was kind of self-indulgence, and the Beatles certainly by 1968 they're all about indulging themselves, weren't they? Let's be honest.
But it's not. Who wants to listen to that? So yeah, it's definitely A.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Nick says, "Hey Jude is overplayed tosh." Oh dear. Yeah, well, that means it goes in A then. I mean, yeah, I pushed for S, but I'm, certainly in retrospect, I think it probably more deserves A. So yeah, easy A really. I think I would like it ahead of Mr. Frank Ifield there though, but at least for now. All right then, Ian. I think it's your pick now.
Okay, I'm going for another instrumental.
Okay.
Apache,
which is the 28th biggest selling single of the decade, and it was out in 1960, and it got to number one. Of course, it's by the Shadows. All right then, Ian, what's your thoughts on Apache?
Well, having a father that is a guitar player and a brother that's a guitar player, and they both have Fender Strats, it was one of them singles that was played, and this one has stood the test of time. It sounded good in 1960. You put it on today, and it's just brilliant. The drumming is brilliant on it. To get that effect of the Apache drums, Bruce Welch's rhythm is just superb, and it travels well. Everyone, the covers I've heard of this, they're all as good as the Shadows. It's an S tier song, one of the best instrumentals of the 60s.
Wow, okay. S tier says Ian. All right then, Simon, what do you make of the Shadows and Apache?
Like it. I don't love it. I'm not all that big on instrumentals personally. I can appreciate the Shadows, the drumming, like Ian said, the instrumentation to their sound is excellent. It's a B for me, I think.
A B, says Digital Dale. So S and B. Out of the two, I don't think there's any more instrumentals coming. So out of the two, no, there is actually. There's a third instrumental. I just realised. So
yes, there is another one.
So out of the two of the three instrumentals we've got here, I prefer Telstar to Apache. I mean, whether they're comparable or not is debatable, really. But it's. I get what you're saying. I mean, it's got that sort of Western kind of vibe to me, cowboys and that sort of thing. I'm like Simon myself here. I don't love it. I like it, kind of. I think it's better than okay. I think C's too low. I think B's probably a fair ranking from me. And what with me and Simon, you said B, didn't you, Simon? Just remind me.
I did, yeah.
I know you really like this one, Ian, but we're going to go with the majority here, and Shadows is going to be B. Tell you what, it's a concession to Ian. I'll put it right at the front of B there. There we go. Shadows and Apache. All right, then. It's Simon's pick now.
I'm curious to know what 22 is.
22 it's the first of what I think might be 3, actually, from Mr. Engelbert Humperdinck, and it's There Goes My Everything. This was actually a number 2 peaking single on the Decca label in 1967. So, you familiar with this one, Simon?
I can't say I am, in honest truth.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not really a big fan of his music, so I'm just going to put this one in C. It's meh.
C, yeah. Just you're judging it more just by his catalogue overall rather than the
yeah.
Fair enough. Ian, There Goes My Everything by Engelbert Humperdinck. Okay.
It's not the best one on this list. It's crap. It whines. It plods. It needs a kick up its arse. It really does, isn't it? It's a D for me.
It's a D tier. Okay, so we've got a C and a D here. This was out of the 3 Engelbert tracks we've got today. This was the one that I was least familiar with. I did have to play this back earlier on. And it's the worst of the 3 for me. It ain't very good. No, I'm gonna say upper end of D. I think for this, it's pretty shabby. All told.
It's shabby, but it's not as shabby as Rolf.
No, we've got to put it ahead of Rolf.
I thought I might have over promoted it a bit.
Yeah. All right then. I think it's my pick now, and I'm just. Do I want to do? No, I'm not. I'm gonna change tack. I'm not gonna do the Beatles now. I'm gonna do a song that I didn't think I knew. Turns out I did know it. But I had to listen to it again earlier to remind myself. It is the 6th biggest selling single of the 60s. It is by the Seekers, and it is The Carnival Is Over, and it was a number 1 in 1965. Right, I listened to this earlier, and I loved it. I thought this was great. When it started, I thought, this isn't going to be my bag. But the lady's voice, I do apologise that I can't remember her name.
Judith Durham,
yeah. Her voice sounded fantastic. They're all Australian, I believe, weren't
yes.
they?
Yes.
They're an Australian band.
This was such a, this was like a maybe Revelations over egging it a bit, but this was such a pleasant surprise when I listened to it earlier. And obviously, I had heard it years back, but I wouldn't have been able to kind of say, "Oh, that's the Seekers and the Carnival is over." It's just something that I know I've heard in my life. But I thought this was excellent. It was just a really good single. This, and for me, I'll be very happy to put this in S tier. But it's not just up to me, it's up to these two lads as well. So, Simon, let's have your opinion on The Carnival is Over.
It's a country song, isn't it? Not,
I don't know if I wouldn't call it particularly country. I mean, I'm gonna defer to Ian's opinion on the genre of it. Really, I think
it's country folk.
Country folk.
Yeah.
It's a country folk.
Folky, yeah, for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a brilliant song. The vocals on it, her voice is just it's stunning.
She had a lovely voice, just so.
It's a lovely all round, well put together song. But is it worthy of S? I think maybe you're right. I think it is an S.
Okay, 2 S's for the Seekers. The Carnival is Over. Right then. So let's see what Ian thinks to The Carnival is Over.
Well, I think a lot of people know that I love the Seekers, thanks to my mum, who got every album by the Seekers. It was a staple in our house, and she has got a wonderful voice.
Yeah. That's what made it for me, really. Her voice.
If you listen to anything that Judith Durham sings on, every track is 10 out of 10 every time.
If it was a lesser singer, if it was a slightly worse vocalist, it probably wouldn't have resonated with me as much, to be honest.
I love this song. It doesn't matter what Seeker's song it would have been on this list. It would have been S.
Right. Well, we've got 3 S's again. I think Simon was wavering a bit with S tier, but he did go with it in the end. Right. Okay. So this one is a easy S tier. Right. The difficult bit is going to be exactly where in S tier it should go. Really. I mean, I'd certainly be happy for it to go ahead of Frank. The Beatles. I wouldn't mind if it went ahead of that. Really, I did enjoy it that much. But what do you reckon, chaps? Where should I put it? Should I put it at the front or in the middle?
Put it at the back.
Oh, you think it should go behind Frank, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the top list, and that's I'm happy with.
Yeah. I mean, the actual positions in the rows aren't massively important, but it's in the right tier. We can all agree on that one. Like I say, I knew of them, and certainly I'd heard it before over the years, but I needed to remind myself about The Carnival is Over earlier on. And I listened to it and I'm like, I'm not surprised that was the 6th biggest selling single of the decade, because it's just such a good song with such a great vocal on it. One of the best.
And the harmonies of the chaps are brilliant.
Absolutely
wonderful. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah. I did see Martin McGrath say something. I think he was replying to Nick talking about Hey Jude, I think. Hello, Martin. Nice to see you. Right then, we move on, and it is Ian's pick now.
Right. I'm going to go for a Laura Laughs, Cilla Black.
Cilla Black, her of Blind Date and surprise fame with Anyone Who Had a Heart. That is the 27th biggest selling single of the decade. There she is on the bottom left there. And it was number 1 on the Parlophone label in 1964. All right, then. Tell us about our Cilla. Our
Cilla, she was a phenomenal and sold a lot of records in the 60s. A great singer. I actually saw Cilla Black in concert when I was 10 years old. I went with my mum and my nan to see her in Coventry, and she was superb. She is such a great singer, and this is her best song. It's my favourite song that Cilla ever recorded, because her vocal range on it is amazing. It's not an S tier song, but it's definitely an A tier song for me. the music arrangements is wonderful. It's got some lovely string in there as well. Huge song, brilliant song.
All right. A says, Ian, Simon, do you agree or disagree?
What song of Sinners is this?
Anyone who had a heart.
Anyone had a heart?
You'll know it when you hear it.
Oh, I know it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Scylla, but her voice for me is so piercing.
I'm glad you said that because I was gonna. Yeah. Okay.
It's not S. A maybe.
Okay. So we've got 2 A's for Scylla so far.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anyone who had a heart. Great song, well written. The music on this is just really well produced, but Scylla's voice just drags it down for me. Sorry, Ian. I don't mean to offend, but her voice to me is like nails down a blackboard. And to be fair, this is from what I've heard of Scylla over the years. This is probably one of the better efforts as well. I've seen like YouTube videos, particularly later in her life, and she's done cover versions of stuff, and it's like I'm there biting my knuckles. It's awful. I heard this covered by some. No, I think it was a cover anyway, or someone had written it and someone had recorded it prior. But I want to say Dionne Warwick did a version of it that was really good. I mean, there'll be a few people who've done this over the years, but for me, I love the song, but every version I've heard that wasn't Cilla Black was better than Cilla Black. So it's see now C seems too low for me, even though I don't like a voice on this. I don't like a voice generally. For me, I would put this sort of maybe mid or low B. But you two have both picked A here, so we've got to go with majority rule again. And Stiller goes in A tier with anyone who had heart. All right, then. I now believe it is Simon's pick now, isn't it?
I'm going to go with what I think is the third best-selling single of the 60s.
Okay.
Ken Dodd, number 3.
Ken Dodd and Tears. You're right. It was the third biggest selling single of the decade. And it was out at a number 1 in 1965. Right then. Okay. Tell us about Doddy, Simon.
Dodd, there's a lot of people who have great success in the music industry who can't sing. Ken Dodd could sing. He had a voice. This is a brilliant song. And it's S tier for me.
Right, okay. Ian, Tears by Mr. Kenneth Dodd.
Doddy was not just a brilliant comic and a songster, he was a brilliant singer. He was a proper entertainer. He had a wonderful voice. And it is one of the classics. This is a beautiful song. Only he can sing it. I've heard other people do it. It just hasn't got the same passion. It hasn't got the same emotion as Ken Dodd singing it. Very successful in the 60s. He had quite a few top 10 hits during the 60s, this being the best. I'm not a great fan of him singing, but this one, I love it. It's just a brilliant song. It's S tier.
Right, we've got 2 S's.
Go steady.
All right. This was another one. I've heard it over the years, but it'd been so long, I've forgotten what it was like. I listened to it again earlier. I do agree Ken Dodd is a far better singer than I expected him to be. Hello, Ivan, by the way. Yeah, England, I believe they're leading 1-0 at half-time. Nice to see you, Ivan. Thanks for joining us. Ken Dodd, Tears. This song just did nothing for me. Sorry. I feel really bad now because you two seem to, and obviously, Ken Dodd, some of his stand-up sets were marathon, weren't they? He could go on for hours, couldn't he? And, especially when he got quite elderly and he was still doing these 3-hour stand-up sets. I mean, that's a real showman, a real trooper. I'm pleased to say I've trod the same boards as Ken Dodd. He was when I was doing my drama course. He was appearing at the same theatre that I was. He was either before or after us. So yeah, so I've trod the same boards as Doddy. But I don't like this song. For me, it's not D. It wasn't terrible, but for me, it was below average. So for me, it was C. It's now where do I put it? Because I've ranked it pretty low, and you two have both ranked it high. I mean, it was similar case to My Way, although I think I ranked that at B. I think Doddy. I think I can't put him in S tier as I ranked him so low. I think he's got to go in A. Really, we've got to try and kind of meet in the middle. Really here. Don't know where people want him in here.
Anywhere.
Yeah, well, let's have him in front of Scylla for now. Anyway,
He's up there. That's what matters.
Yeah. So yeah, A tier. Yeah, I think that's a bit high for him, really. But I know you two both love it, so that's more than fair enough. Yeah, a real showman. Yeah, my parents loved him. I wish I'd got to see him live once, and it just never happened because you got real value for money with Donny, didn't you?
Yeah, a friend of mine went to see him, and he was in there for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. He just did marathon sets, didn't he? And people loved him. He had them rolling in the aisles, didn't he?
Yeah, my mate was hurting.
Yeah. I mean, fair play. He's got a. He's someone. He was never the height of fashion, was he? But you've got to put him down as one of the nation's greatest stand-ups just for his longevity, really, haven't you?
And he gave us the Diddy Men, of course.
Oh, of course, yeah. So, Ken Dodd there, I think, it's my pick now. Right then, we'll get back to the Beatles, I think, because we've still got a fair few of them to do. And I'll just do the one that's first on the list here. At number 18 is From Me to You. On the Parlophone label, it was a number one hit in 1963. I think this is one of the Beatles' weaker singles myself. Some of their early stuff I think is great. Me personally, I tend to prefer their kind of early psychedelic period, kind of 1966 coming into 1967. I mean, Hello, Goodbye is a good example of that. And that's just a superb single. From Me to You is good. As a Beatles fan, I'm inclined to enjoy it generally, but I don't think it's high. It's worth higher than a B tier for me personally. From Me to You, but we'll see what the other panelists say. Simon, From Me to You.
Not quite an S. It's an A for me.
It's an A from Simon. Simple as that. Okay, Ian, From Me to You.
It's good, but it's not brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't think it even is for an A song for me. I think it's a B song. Yeah.
It's not. It's not one of their, even for their early period. I don't think it's one of their strongest myself, but. So we've got an A and two Bs here. So a pretty easy B then. Let's have it. Let's just have it there for now. Ian's pick now, please.
And I'm going to go with the other Frank Ifield song.
Frank Ifield, in his second one in this top 30 is I Remember You, and it was a number one in 1962. All right, then tell us about this one from Frank Ifield, please, Ian.
Out of the two in this list, this is the best one. It's his best tune. It's got some wonderful yodeling on it. And the key change in them yodels is brilliant. I prefer this one, but it's not S tier. It's A tier, but it sits above the other one.
You like it better than Lovesick Blues?
Yeah, it's better than Lovesick Blues, but it's definitely A.
It's A tier for ranking the obscure. All right then, Simon. What is it for you? I Remember You.
It's S tier all the way.
I think you're a bit of a Frank Ifield fan on the quiet, Simon.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Yes, I think we can establish
it was a big selling song yet again like the other one. Probably majority of people was probably their favourite. It's not my favourite of the three, but it's certainly S tier.
S tier, right? Okay. Okay. I knew this. I did listen to it again just to make sure it was what I thought it was, and it was. So yeah, I know this. I knew it much better than Lovesick Blues, certainly. But I thought Lovesick Blues, for me personally, was more to my taste than I Remember You.
Lovesick Blues was actually a cover of a Hank Williams song.
Yeah. So I Remember You. I like the yodeling. I mean, I suppose it's supposed to be seen as quite cheesy now, wouldn't it? I don't know about back then. Obviously, I wasn't around to
it's
really
an art.
know.
Yodeling is an art.
Yeah, true. It's definitely not D because I quite liked it. It's definitely, I would say, it's probably better than C for me. B, like lower end of B, probably for me. So. I think we're going to meet in the middle here then and put it in A tier. So, yeah. So, this tier list so far, it's turning out that, the majority of stuff we're liking at least quite a lot so far. There's not much that we've actually slagged off yet, collectively anyway. So, A tier again, Frank Ifield. You know what? I'll put him next to himself there, but I'm gonna say that I want Lovesick Blues to be ahead in that row, just because for me it was the better one. Right then, that means that were your pick just then, weren't it, Ian?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Simon, it's yours now, please.
Oh, have a look. It's difficult to know what's what now, apart from the Beatles.
Yeah, anything you sort of like the look of, but you're not quite sure, you can shout out, and obviously we'll fill you in, as it were.
Let's do the Shadows. Is it 26?
It's not the Shadows. It is actually is the Searchers. Yep. Searchers at number 26 with Needles and Pins. It was on the Pie record label, and it was a number one in 1964. I'm sure you're very familiar with this one, Simon.
It's an S. It's a great song.
He loves his 60s, doesn't he, Dale?
Yeah, it's a great song. I love the beat to this. From beginning to the end, it's a brilliant song. It's an S.
It's an S, says Simon. Ian.
It's top quality. The drummer, Chris Curtis, his time signature on that was something else. It's not just straight fours. There's no straight fours in that song, apparently. It's intricate. The guitar work is, and Chris Curtis, of course, is the man that was responsible for Deep Purple. So this is a great song. It was very underrated and got overlooked, but to me, it's one of the great 60s singles. It's a great tune. I mean, Smokey covered it back in the 70s, and that was a good.
Oh, did they?
They did a great version of it because it's a great song to cover. It is a brilliant song, and it's S tier. S
tier, 2 S's for the Searchers. So this one, I'm showing my ignorance again. It's one that I felt I knew, but I needed to listen to it again to be sure. Yes, I did know it. Yes, I really like it. It's a great single in it. This one.
It is.
With that kind of the sort of beat combo, the sort of guitar pop of the 60s. I think this is kind of this was better than a lot of the Beatles' efforts for me. Certainly, a lot of the Beatles' earlier efforts. This is just a fantastic single, and I think for me, generally, I'll be ranking this at the higher end of A. But I'm more than happy to go with the majority here and put it in S tier. Yeah. Let's put it at the back of S tier for now. So yeah, well deserved placing for the searchers, I think there, and Needles and Pins. It is a cracking single that. Right then, we move on with my pick. Yeah, I'm going to get it out of the way. Me and Ian were talking a little bit about it before we went live, but we're going to get the number one single of the 60s done now. Of course, it was by the Beatles. Of course, it's She Loves You, and it was a number one in 1963. It sold an absolute bumload. But for me, it's good. I like it. I'm a big Beatles fan, as people know. It's not, there again, like a lot of their early stuff, it's not got that X factor for me. So, I think there again, it's a B tier for me. She Loves You. I think it's better than I Feel Fine. Or whichever one it was that no, From Me to You, sorry, not I Feel Fine. We have got I Feel Fine coming, so that's kind of giving a spoiler away as to where I'd put that. But yeah, She Loves You for me is B tier, but I'll be interested to know the chap's opinions. Let's have Simon's opinion on this one, please.
It's very simple. It's repetitive. She loves you. Yeah. But the buzz of the Beatles really resonates in this song, and you hear that and you feel it.
Yeah,
it's an S for me.
It's an S for Simon. Okay.
Yeah.
Right then. Well, I know what Ian was saying about it earlier, so I'm going to be interested to see his ranking for this one.
It may have sold a bucketful, but it's not their best song.
Mm.
It doesn't do nothing for me. It's you, yeah. Nah, they wrote better ones. I think, but it's a B for me as well. It's one Beatles song that it's cringeworthy for me. I just don't like it.
You can rank it lower if you wish, Ian. I mean,
no, it's not terrible, but it is cringeworthy at times. I think it's one of their songs that hasn't sort of travelled well. It's a song that is stuck in the 60s.
It's been overplayed, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, and I just, when people say it's their favourite Beatles song, it just makes you want to pull your hair out what bit I've got, If you think that's their best, you haven't listened. Just because it was the biggest selling single of the 60s doesn't make it the best.
It wasn't even the best that they'd done at that point in their career.
No.
I mean, astonishingly, I think one of the singles that isn't included on this top 30 is Please Please Me, and that is superior as far as I'm concerned.
It is.
Starters. So that you're saying B, same as me then, Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be majority rule again here. I don't think we've quite sort of said enough to maybe push it into A tier. So yeah, it's got to go with in B, but I'm going to put it ahead of From Me to You because I think I do like it a little better than that. All right, okay, and now I think it's Ian's pick.
Right, I know what one I'm going for.
Okay,
the Dave Clark 5.
Dave Clark 5 at number 25 on the Decade's Top 30. This is, of course, Glad All Over, and it was a number one on the Columbia label in 1963. Are you glad all over to be ranking the Dave Clark 5 tonight?
Yeah, I love the Dave Clark Part 5. They were a fun act. It was about stamping your feet. They had some great songs, this being one of them, Bits and Pieces. As well was a great song. This is just, any band that play that and then they stamp their feet to it, it's just a band that should have had more love in the 60s than what they got because they were a fun band from the thing. And of course, Crystal Palace Football Club use this song, don't they, Simon?
Ah,
Yeah.
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 And they did a really naff version in the 1990 Cup, didn't they? Something.
You've got better memory than me, mate.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the most another underrated single of the 60s, and it should be an S tier because Dave Clark 5 just don't get enough love.
Yeah. S tier, says Ian. Craig Bell in the chat says Glad All Over is S tier, no doubt. All right then, Simon, what do you reckon?
It doesn't do anything for me, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay.
But as Ian and others like it very much, I will put it in a respectable B.
B is respectable, yeah. Yeah, I've known this song, all my life, really. I've no doubt my dad. This was a single my dad owned. I seem to recall it being in his collection of 45s many years ago. Yeah, it's not S tier for me. Is it A? I would say it's maybe. I would say no. It's forefront of B tier for me. This, so yeah, I think because me and Simon are both saying B. I was kind of leaning towards like back end of A, but no, front section of B. I think for this one, it's good. It's very good, in fact. But yeah, I don't absolutely love the bones of it, but it's a good single and certainly deserving of the top 30. All right, then. It's Simon's pick now.
Cliff Richard, The Next Time.
Cliff Richard, The Next Time. I believe it's a double A side as well, so you may want to judge it on either or both of these tracks, but it's The Next Time and Bachelor Boy by Cliff Richard and the Shadows, a number one in 1962. All right, then. So Cliff has already got one ranking in C. Is he going to do any better for you with this one, Simon?
It's better than Bachelor Boy. It's insipid and people may dislike it, but I love it. This is an S for me.
Wow, okay. You surprised me then, especially when you said it's insipid. I thought, oh, hang on, this is going to be a low one. And suddenly, S tier.
Yeah.
Like an insipid S tier track. I never thought I'd live to see the day, to be honest.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Okay, right. So, Ian, The Next Time and Bachelor Boy.
Oh, I don't like The Next Time. Now, my mum was a huge Cliff Richard fan, right?
Mm.
God rest her soul. She'd be turning in a grave now every when she hears this song. She hated it. She preferred The Bachelor Boy, and I prefer Bachelor Boy.
I mean, feel free to judge it on Bachelor Boy because it's a double A side, so it's
I think it's a good B on Bachelor Boy, but if it was on Next Time, it'd be C. It's a dreary old thing. Cliff did make some dreary songs, and that's one of them.
Well, I still love it regardless.
I know you love it, mate, but oh dear. Yeah. Get on with it. You want to wind him up.
So, S for Simon, B for Ian. Oh, crikey. I listened to both of these again earlier. Bachelor Boy, I knew. The Next Time, I realised I did sort of know it. But yeah, The Next Time was just kind of dross, really, as far as I was concerned. This single overall, Bachelor Boy was probably slightly better for me, but I didn't enjoy either of them. I think D's a little harsh, but for me, this is a C. However, we've got to put it higher than C because Simon's picked S and Ian's picked B, and I've picked. You know what? I think we're gonna have to try and meet in the middle, kind of here, and it's got to go back end of B, really.
B, yeah.
For me, that looks a little too high for it, but Simon did say S tier, so that's why, it's where it is. Okay. My pick now. Shall we do? Let's do another Engelbert Humperdinck, shall we? I want to do the one that is at number 11 in the list, The Last Waltz. It was a number 1 in 1967. I don't know if it's because it's something that has been sampled a lot for regular viewers of the channel will know this artist that I'm about to mention. People like us. I've pledged for her latest couple of albums on Patreon, and I also got a unique vinyl pressing of one of her earlier albums as well. But she sampled The Last Waltz by Engelbert Humperdinck in some of her work. I say work because it's more like sort of, kind of musique concrète, I think the French would call it. Nicking it, yeah, but she makes sort of comedic kind of pieces out of it. So I've got quite a bit of fondness for this, mainly thanks to Vicky Bennett and people like us. But I did listen to the actual proper song again earlier, and out of the 3 Engelberts in this, in spite of myself, I liked it. I did like The Last Waltz. It's really schmaltzy and syrupy, obviously. Trouble is, though, I think something that might have swayed me a little bit is that I was reading the YouTube comments while I was listening to some of these, and they're all from people who are saying, "Oh, this reminds me of my parents who passed away so many." And it's like, it's like people who just love the song, not necessarily because it's the greatest song ever, but because it reminds them of like a relation that they've lost, who was a fan of this back in the day. But I like this enough that I would put this fairly high up in A tier. So Engelbert, The Last Waltz for me is A. Okay, so Simon, I know you've rated Cliff as S tier, so I don't feel quite as embarrassed to rank Engelbert that high now. But I'll be interested to know your opinions on The Last Waltz.
Well, you'll be shocked. I don't recall it. I don't want to recall it. Not interested. It's a D.
Oh, right. If I sing a little bit of it, might it jog your memory?
Probably not. Maybe.
No, I need to do some vocal exercises. That would have sounded like absolutely nothing there.
I'll put it in E if you sing it.
Oh, well, okay. In that case, I'll shut up. Right. So we've got an A and a D so far. So Ian's vote here is probably going to be relatively decisive, I think.
It's shite.
Oh, okay.
That's simple. I can't stand it.
Oh, yeah. I like it more than I thought I would. Put it that way. I get what you're saying, obviously.
And that's
I had to play this every time I did a disco for, like a 40th wedding anniversary. Oh.
Yeah, this one, the oldies love it, don't they? I mean, Engelbert, he had 3 singles in this top 30. Probably more when you scroll down to the full top 60 that's available. I bet he had more in there, but 3 in the top 30 was a big seller of the decade.
Oh no, my granddad couldn't stand him either.
I don't think my dad was much of a fan. No, I don't think he was a fan of full stop of Engelbert.
Or Jerry Dorsey.
That's
his real name. Gerald Dorsey.
Yeah.
From Leicester.
Oh, yeah. He's from Leicester, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's got to go in D. Simple as.
Okay. Oh, right. So an A and 2 Ds, that's quite far apart. Yeah, he's got to go in the middle, really. I mean, Cliff there kind of feels like he's on his own a bit in C tier. So
pair them together.
Yeah. Engelbert can go in C tier. There you go. I want him ahead of Cliff in that. Then. All right, then. It is now Ian's pick, I believe.
All right, let's get the other one out of the way.
Oh, you want the other Engelbert one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Straight
And
in.
I've just realised I've just put the wrong one in. There we go. Apologies for that. Yeah, so number in fact that wasn't even Engelbert, that was bloody Tom Jones. They do look kind of similar though from a distance, don't they? That's my excuse. Anyway, I'm sticking to it. Okay, right. The 8th biggest selling single of the decade was "Release Me" by Engelbert Humperdinck on Decca, and number 1 in 1967. Yeah, I've got certain thoughts about what this.
Release me, let me go, never come back.
Okay.
It was at number 1 the same year that Sgt. Pepper's came out.
Well, that's the thing. It stopped Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields Forever from getting to number 1.
It absolutely did. So it's D for that reason.
And
How can you have dross like that keeping Penny Lane off number 1?
I love that single. Strawberry Fields Forever is for me. It's probably John Lennon's finest work. I think that's his peak, really, for me.
Yeah.
And I know there'd be Beatles fans and Lennon fans who'd disagree vehemently, but I love Strawberry Fields, and it's not in this top 30. Mainly thanks it's in the top 60 somewhere. I've seen it, but it's not in the top 30. Mainly thanks to the dominance of bloody Mr. Humperdinck here.
Yeah, no, it's D.
It's D for Ian. All right, then. Surely, Simon, you weren't familiar with the last waltz, but you'll know, please release me, let me go.
I know it.
It was a theme to the Fast show. Go on.
Yes, it was.
It deserves a little bit of love just because of that, surely.
Look, I like the song. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. Now, do I put in A or B?
Oh, blimey.
You can't. It's not a song you can keep listening to, is it?
Nah.
Once is normally enough, isn't it? And you have to more or less sort of respect it.
Yeah, it's like a really sugary treat, isn't it? Like one, and then it's like, oh, well, yeah, that's enough of that, really.
Yes. So I think for that reason, I will put it in B.
In B, right? Okay, we've got a B and a D. Yeah, like the sort of lover of that period of the Beatles in particular in me would just want it in D just because of what happened to Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields. But
being biased now.
I can't judge it on that. I've got to judge it on what I think about the song. And what I think about the song is it's okay. It wasn't the actual Engelbert version that was the theme to the Fast show in the 90s, but everyone who watched the Fast show got to know that song, at least the Paul Whitehouse version of it. And then
it's quality.
Yeah. So maybe if it was the Paul Whitehouse version, then we could rank it higher collectively. But I think this is I don't like it as much as the last waltz, obviously, because I seem to be the only person on the planet who actually like that. But Ian said D. Simon, you said B for this one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let's meet in the middle. Let's have another Engelbert in C, then, shall we? Yeah. I want him ahead of Cliff as well, but right, that'll do for now. Anyway. All right. I think it's your pick now, Simon.
Right. Should we do 23 Beatles? Help?
Yep. Number 23 is Help, and the B-side for that, as you can see, if you look close enough, is I'm Down. It was number 1 single on Parlophone in 1965. Of course, it was the title track from the album and the movie as well. Everyone knows Help. Simon, what's your thoughts on it?
I like the B-side better than the A-side.
You're welcome to kind of make an overall judgment based on that. If you're familiar with both tracks on a single, the A and the B, then that's I'm happy for people to do that.
I'll put it in A.
It's an A for Digital Dale. How about Ranking the Obscure?
I like both songs, but Way Down is great, and I've got a version of it by Aerosmith as well.
Yes, I've got this on Permanent Vacation,
and it's a cracking version of that song.
It is a good version. Yeah.
And I saw them do that live.
Mm.
It's brilliant. I agree with Simon. I think it's an A.
Yeah.
Some lovely harmonies in Help.
Yeah.
It's a catchy tune.
And
don't forget, Bananarama did it for comic relief with
they did with
French
and Saunders and Kathy Burke, I think was
yes.
So 2 A's there. You know what? I'm in the consensus here. It's not elite tier or S tier Beatles for me, but it's a great single from a film that, although I've not seen it in a good few years, it's an enjoyable movie. I still think A Hard Day's Night, out of those sort of Beatles movies, was the better one. But Help was very colourful for obvious reasons.
And quite comical as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it had Leo McKern in it as well, didn't it? And I'm a big Leo McKern fan. I do like him. Always have done since he was in The Prisoner. Let's put it in A. Let's have it. I'm gonna have it behind Hey Jude for now. I'm going to shift it about a bit later if we must. Right then. My pick now. Let's get that other instrumental done. Let's go with "Strangers on the Shore" or "Stranger" singular, I should say, on the shore by Akabelk. This one actually didn't get to number 1. It peaked at number 2, but there again, similar to Frank Sinatra, and I remember this from my Guinness Book of Hit singles that I flicked through religiously about every day, pretty much, in my teen years. I know it spent an absolute age on the chart altogether. 1961, Akabelk, "Stranger on the Shore." I knew it, but I did listen to it again earlier. It's got a certain charm to it, but it's not my scene. I mean, what instrument is that? Is it clarinet? Is it
clarinet?
Clarinet. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, clarinet music is never going to be my bag. Although, funnily enough, I do love bagpipes, but we've talked about that in previous videos. It's not a D. I don't think it's that bad. But for me, I couldn't rank this higher than a C. I didn't enjoy it massively. I kind of see, he's got talent, obviously, but not a single that I would rush out and listen to. So C for me and Mr. Akabelk. But what about you, Simon? What do you think?
Doesn't interest me. It's probably enjoyable for the time of the 60s. It's a D for me.
A D. You're not keen at all then?
Not really, no.
Fair enough. Yeah. Ian, I'll be interested on your thoughts about this one.
Yeah, this actually got to number 1 in America.
Wow. So Akabelk he's British, isn't he?
He's British.
Yeah.
He's a very good jazz musician. But this, he did far better than this. And this is pretty gross. I don't like it. It's boring. It
is. It's meandering, isn't it?
He's very good at what he does. He is a fine clarinet player. Don't take that away from him. But yeah, it was all the mums and dads brought this. Yeah, not the kids. It was not, parents had and they were still thinking rock and roll was bad. It's a D for me.
Yeah. I mean, I said C just because I appreciated his musicianship, but I'm now beginning to think, well, I don't know if I can really say it's even that high.
Yeah, when I've heard better stuff that he'd done that never got released as singles.
Yeah,
it wasn't a poor decision for him because he made a bucket of money on it, but it didn't show what Akabelk was. Oh, that's all people think about Akabelk is this song, and there's more to Akabelk than this.
Should have even made the top 10, let alone.
Yeah, but it stayed there again. I think it's one like the Oldsters bought, didn't it? It stayed on the chart for weeks and weeks, months, didn't it?
Yeah, kept buying it though, didn't they?
Yeah. So, well, in that, it's to be fair to defer to him, we'll put him at the forefront of D. But yeah, two Ds and for me a low C or even a high D. Really, in hindsight, yeah, D's quite an easy sort of ranking for Stranger on the Shore there. All right, then. We have got 6 left, so it'll be your penultimate pick now, please, Ian.
Okay, let's go with the man from Wales,
The
the
man from
legendary
Wales.
Sir Tom Jones.
Mr. Tom Jones at number 10 on this decade list with Green Green Grass of Home. It was a number 1 in 1966. Okay, Ian, take it away.
There are better songs. Delilah. It's not unusual. Where's that?
Mm.
Yes.
I prefer in It's Not Unusual, and I like Delilah. I think his version of Delilah is brilliant. This, again, not the best song, but it was more popular with the mums and dads of the time.
Mm.
I don't think it's a bad song. He's certainly a better singer than old Emple Burke. So I think he's a C, but top of C because
A high C.
it's a high C. He's a legend, and he can still sing in his 80s, and that's doesn't happen very often. I've got a lot of time for Tom Jones, but this song, Tom, sorry, it wasn't your best.
It was his biggest, at least of the decade, maybe of all time. I'm not sure. I'd assume so, given it's at number 10 in the 60s list. All right then, Simon, the green grass of home.
It's not his best, I agree, but it still should be higher on the list for me. If his others can reach the S, this should be an A.
A tier, says Simon.
Yes.
B for Ian. Yeah. I've never been a massive lover of Tom Jones. I there again, I respect his longevity. His voice, he's certainly not on the Scylla level of nails down a blackboard, but for me, his voice, I need to be in the mood for it, I think, really. But I tend to disagree a little bit with Ian here. I think this was probably, for me, one of his better singles. Delilah, I never quite got into it. It's not unusual. It's pretty good, admittedly, and I remember it getting re-released and doing really well in the late 80s.
Pretty good.
all right. It was very good. It's not unusual. So I think I'd rank Green Grass in B tier somewhere. So yeah, I think that's where it's going to go because we're meeting in the middle again, really, aren't we? Don't know whereabouts in B. B's getting a little bit kind of, full of 60s classics. Oh, let's stick it in the middle there for now. Green Grass in B tier. All right then, Simon, your penultimate pick.
Should we do the Beatles on the far right side?
All right, that'll be their the second biggest selling single of the decade, and it is the Beatles' "I Want to Hold Your Hand," number 1 in 1963. What's the
B-side?
Can't see what the B side is there. Hang on, I'll just drill down into it. The B side was "I Saw Her Standing There," so another very well known track. So yeah, big single, obviously another massive seller.
Two great songs.
Yeah.
It's an S.
It's an S tier, says Simon.
Yeah,
it's a good one for their early stuff. Yeah, Ian, what do you reckon to "I Want to Hold Your Hand"?
I don't like "I Want to Hold Your Hand," but I love "I Saw Her Standing There."
Okay,
that is a killer rock and roll track. I'm not. I don't know. This is tough. I'm going to put it in A because I think "I Want to Hold Your Hand's a whiny old song. Whines.
Okay.
I don't like the start of it. That guitar's a little off kilter for me.
That was part of the charm, though, because they were kind of, they were that early period. They had not quite been licked into shape properly, had they? Really,
No,
in
they're
a lot of ways.
quite fine there.
Yeah,
Craft.
I find it quite charming. And Nick nodded off, so he's missed a lot. Well, you can see how we've ranked these so far, Nick. I'm sure there's plenty there for you to disagree with. We'll be doing the Toya ranking next time, but I'm not sure I can fit like every single she's ever done on D tier, so it might be a bit boring. I've got to get a Toya related dig into for Nick. Come on,
you should do a
tradition. Okay, so Simon says S. Ian, you said A, didn't you, for this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like them both. I like the A side and the B side. Like a lot of the Beatles stuff from this period, it's good. It's almost great. In fact, some of it is great. I'd say this is probably just about there, but it's not quite S tier for me. So A tier, yeah, it's A tier now. Would I want it ahead of Help or behind Help? I think I prefer Help, certainly. Let's have it. I don't know. Would it be weird to have like Frank Ifield sort of like in the middle of a Beatles sandwich, really? But there he is. There we go. Beatles. I want to hold your hand there in A tier. It's my penultimate pick. Yeah, there's still 3 more Beatles ones to go. So let's do. Yeah, I'm gonna do the number 7 single in the 60s top 30. We Can Work It Out, Day Tripper. This was a double A side. Obviously, feel free to judge based on either or both songs. 1965, Parlophone, number 1. S tier. We Can Work It Out is great. It's a Macca classic for me. Day Tripper is also very, very good. But even if Day Tripper was a separate single or just a separate B-side elsewhere or an album track, We Can Work It Out has always been one of my favourite Beatles singles. It's an easy S for me, this one. Ian, how about you?
Right, this is when Beatles really started to get in the groove. They were moving away from that pop sound. They were starting to craft songs. Day Tripper has got an incredible riff from George Harrison.
It has, yeah.
We Can Work It Out. A little bit more intricate for them. Near enough on a prog with the organ on it. Very early stages of prog. This is when I think the Beatles changed what they were going to do, and it's S tier because them 2 songs are just cracking.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Simon, what do you reckon?
That is S tier for me as well. Yeah.
Simple as that. There we go. 3 S's. Similar to Hello Goodbye, I guess. And
these are great Beatles songs.
Yeah, in fact, I think with maybe the arguable exception of Frank's in Archer, I think we've pretty much agreed on all the S tier ones about just how outstanding they are. So yeah, easy S tier for the Beatles. Yeah, I'm going to put it behind Hello Goodbye there for now. All right then. So it is the final pick for Ian now, please.
I'm going for the Beatles Can't Buy Me Love, and I can't even see what the...
Yeah, Can't Buy Me Love is my phone will turn on. It's the 4th biggest selling single of the 1960s. It was a number 1, unsurprisingly, in 1964. All right then, Ian, Can't Buy Me Love.
See, I like this song better than She Loves Me. She Loves You. I think it's got the beat's better, it flows better, and there's more words. Okay, it's got Can't Buy Me Love, but it's got a great little guitar bit from George. It's not as S for me, but it's certainly an A.
Okay, Simon,
is the B-side Ticket to Ride?
Let me just check. Can't Buy Me Love. I think Ticket to Ride is a little bit later than that, but No, the B-side is You Can't Do That.
That's a great song.
It's an A for me, this one.
It's an A. Okay. 2 A's. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with a consensus again here. Can't Buy Me Love You. I don't think I like it as much as I Want to Hold Your Hand, but I probably like it more than She Loves You. So yeah, A will do nicely. In fact, let's have it just be in front of Frank Ifield there, if I can. There we go. So plenty of Beatles in A tier now, and they're there a couple of times in S, but we do have one more Beatles track to pick, and also one by Mr. Elvis Presley. So let's see which of those Simon would like to choose.
Bugger Elvis. Let's do the Beatles.
Okay, bugger Elvis. Bugger Elvis. Let's go with the Beatles. I Feel Fine, of course, is this one, the 5th biggest of the decade, 1964, number 1, and the B-side, for those who may want to judge it on the B as well.
She's a woman, I believe.
She's a woman. You're exactly correct, Ian. All right, then, Simon. I Feel Fine.
Not quite S. It's an A on this one.
It's an A for I Feel Fine. Okay. Ian?
I think this is one of those first records that actually had feedback on it.
Yes, it was. It might be the first.
Yeah. I love this song. It's got some intricate guitar. This is when they'd gone away from that simplicity. They were starting to experiment more, and having that feedback on was no one had done it. It's an A for me.
An A. Yeah, and once again, I'm happy to go with A. I'd be loath to rank most Beatles, even lower than A. Really, I mean, She Loves You was an exception, and From Me to You, I'm not overly keen on. It's good, but in the Beatles canon, there's way better. But yeah, I Feel Fine. I think's a deserving relatively high A. Now, where would we want to put it though? Is it better than Help? Is it better than I Want to Hold Your Hand? I don't know. Kind of struggling where to put. There's so many Beatles. It's like you're almost ranking the Beatles on their own at this point. I'll put it there for now. So yeah, well, my last pick isn't a pick really at all. It's the only one that's left. It's the 9th biggest selling single of the 60s, and it's the only one in the top 30, surprisingly, from Mr. Elvis Aaron Presley. RCA label, number 1 in 1960. It's Now or Never. Of course, this one, it's the song is based on is it O Sole Mio? Is it O Sole Mio? The opera.
No.
No, it's probably the right. Yeah. It's, I've been trying to get my foot in the door in the opera community for years now, and it's just not happening. But yeah, it's riffing on an old Italian opera song, isn't it? I feel I should like this more than I do, but I don't really like it an awful lot. I think for me, this one's a C at best for me personally. Okay, Simon, let's have your thoughts on Elvis. It's Now or Never.
Yeah, I was thinking more D, but maybe C might just be the place for it.
So 2 C's so far. Let's see what Ian reckons.
You can sing the words to Just One Cornetto to it.
Yeah, just one chord. Yeah. I was trying to be more highbrow with O Sole Mio, but one cornetto. Yeah.
I don't like this song. It's dross. It's one of the worst songs. My mate Lee will kill me for saying this because he's a huge Elvis fan, but Elvis could have done better. Whoever decided you've got to record this, and he's hung, drawn, and quartered. Considering what else he was doing at the time, and if it was the Colonel, I bet it's something to do with the Colonel. He needed a hit because he had gambled all his money away. It's terrible. It was a bad decision, although it was popular. It only sold because it was by Elvis. Anyone else had done it, it'd have flopped. It's terrible. It's D. It's
D, right? Okay.
it doesn't deserve to go anywhere else. Bad decision.
Yeah. All right. So 2Cs, although I felt like Simon was wavering a bit. So Simon, if you do want to change your mind, now's the chance to do it.
Stick it in D then.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. We'll put it. I'll put it at the front of D, because for me it's a low C, but I'm more than happy to see it in D, to be perfectly honest. And there we go. So we have ranked all 30, but we will just have a quick recap and then we'll have a bit of a discussion as to whether we want to move anything. But in the S tier, we've got Hello Goodbye, We Can Work It Out with Day Tripper, Frank Sinatra, the Seekers, and the Searchers are all S tier singles in our opinion. In A tier, we've got Hey Jude, Help, I Feel Fine. We've got Lovesick Blues, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Can't Buy Me Love, I Remember You, Tears by Doddy, and Anyone Who Had a Heart by Cilla Black. In B tier, we've got Glad All Over, we've got Apache, we've got Sugar Sugar, Green Green Grass of Home, Telstar, Kathy's Clown, She Loves You, From Me to You, and the double A side there from Cliff, The Next Time, and Bachelor Boy. And then getting on to the ones we're not quite so keen on collectively. In C tier, it's The Last Waltz by Engelbert. Another one from Engelbert there, that's Release Me, I think. And another one from Cliff, that'll be The Young Ones. And then the D tier, the stuff that we just don't really like whatsoever. Elvis, It's Now or Never. Acapulco, Strangers on the Shore. Engelbert Humperdinck with its other third one, I've forgotten the name of it. There Goes My Everything. And finishing off, bottom of the pile, Rolf Harris, Two Little Boys. There we go. We have ranked the top 30 60 singles. However, do we want to make any switches before we finalise?
It's pretty good. I mean, I don't think we're going to agree with each other, are we? If we tamper with it,
yeah. Anything.
I mean, there is a few tweaks I could personally make. But,
yeah, I mean, I know for you, like that Cliff single would be higher. For me, the Scylla single would be lower. But you know, it's
Ken Dodd. You could put an S. I'll leave it how it is.
Yeah, but I didn't rate that highly. I know you both would really like that, but for me, it was a C at best, really. So
just leave it then.
Yeah, Ian, any kind of switches you think we should make?
No. I think the big picture, I think it just shows we've got it there or thereabouts.
Yeah,
it just proves that it may be one of the the biggest selling singles are not all the best ones. I think you've got you've got the Seekers at the top. We've got Frank. We've got the Beatles and the Searchers.
Yeah. Yeah, some real,
it's good enough.
Real, absolutely just timeless classics in that S tier, certainly, aren't there?
Yeah, you can't. I don't think you can get any better than that.
No.
And I think we have put the best two Beatles. Well, I'd say three great Beatles songs in the top tier.
Yeah, it's not all flooded with Beatles. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, I think sounds like we're pretty happy with how it looks. Then, well, that's made this job a little easier. Then, so that's it finalised.
Yeah, and England have won.
And England have won. So there we go. So
it's not about playing classy football. It's about getting the results.
I was press download for that and never do anything with them, but maybe one day I will. All right, so let's get back off that screen. Am I not sharing this anymore? Oh, yeah, no, there we go. All right, chat overlay back on just for the end bit. So there we go. So many thanks, Simon and Ian. I really enjoyed that. It was difficult, not because some of the stuff I was hitherto not very familiar with, but there was so much good stuff there. It was difficult, really, to kind of, get stuff exactly where it should be. You know what I mean? It was like with the 80s and the 90s ones, there was some stuff that each of us really loved, and the 70s, of course, obviously. But there was very few that were all in agreement with that were S tier. Certainly, you know, but some absolute belting singles there, and you know, if a tier list like that isn't proof that the 60s was arguably the decade for singles, then you know what is really. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was great. The 60s singles were fantastic. I think the only sort of decade which could compare regarding the hits was maybe the 80s, but
yeah,
I don't think it quite is there.
Yeah, from what I remember, the 80s, there wasn't an awful lot that, you know, I can't remember, did we have 2 or 3 in the S tier there? But
it's the most we've ever, it's the most we've put in the.
Oh, yeah, definitely. This is what I'm saying, you know, just looking at what we put in S tier compared to other S tiers for other decades, you know, if that doesn't prove that it was a great period for singles. And this was obviously after, you know, Ian and I were saying before we went live, you know, there's some good stuff that's 31 to 60 that we can't even talk about. You know, so if we'd done a top 60, bloody, can you imagine how chocker the S tier might have been with the, you know, putting the
I would say so.
and all, and Rolling Stones. There was about 5 Rolling Stones singles, and all of them missed the top 30 there. And at least 2 of them, I think I would have put in S tier myself. But that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching. I know it's been a little bit of a quieter one, because Jason's not been here, and it's always quieter when he's not around. But he'll be back next time, no doubt. But I really enjoyed that. And obviously, if you're watching this on replay, then I appreciate that. Please leave your comments in the comments section. We'll be back in 2 weeks, and I don't know what we're doing in 2 weeks, so that's something I need to discuss with the chaps. And we need to come to some sort of decision about that. But just want to say once again, thank you everyone who was watching, who was chatting, and anyone who might be watching on demand, as it were. Thank you to Digital Dale, nearly dead named you there again. I'll get used to it in time, don't worry.
Either one.
Thank you, Simon. Always a pleasure having you on. I like to think of you as much of a regular as Ian and Jason now. So
thank you.
You've got an open seat, an open invitation for the Sodcast, as far as I'm concerned, mate.
Really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I figured you did, and you're right about the 60s. Just some absolute class stuff there. And of course, thank you as always to Ian of Ranking the Obscure for your knowledge and insight. Always appreciated, mate. So that's got to be it from us. We'll be back in 2 weeks, 8 o'clock UK time, no doubt. If there's any changes to the schedule for whatever reason, if we have to postpone, just look out on my community tab and I'll keep people updated there. But until then, we should see you in 2 weeks' time. Of course, don't forget, subscribe to Digital Dale, subscribe to Ranking the Obscure, and it'd be nice if you gave me a sub as well if you haven't already. All right, but
and don't forget, you can see us all probably on Thursday and Friday night.
Yeah, another reminder. we did do a little plug at the start, but another reminder: live on Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time, Ranking the Obscure's channel for his weekly Thursday stream, and live at 8 o'clock UK time in the evening on Friday, Digital Dale's weekly live stream as well. So lots to look forward to live at the end of the week as well. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you again in